The war that was supposed to stay contained has blown wide open. Iran is burning from the inside out. Protests in more than 300 cities, security forces firing live rounds, and a regime that suddenly looks less like a powerhouse and more like a government fighting for its life. At the same time, U.S. and Israeli strikes have expanded into dozens of Iranian cities, including the outskirts of Tehran. Iran is firing back with missiles and drones. Now we turn to the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's energy flows. The artery of global economy is now a pressure point the entire world's watching. And then something really strange happened, folks. President Trump suddenly announced a 5-day pause on planned military strikes, claiming very good and productive conversations with Iran. Well, Iran immediately denied those conversations ever took place. So somebody's bluffing, someone is lying, or someone is running out of time. Are we in the escalation phase where the stakes rise, the truth gets murkier, and the world edges closer to a point of no return? Welcome to the Joe Rossano Show. My dear friends and fellow Americans, we're going to dive into a part of the story where everything accelerates. The protests, the missile strikes, the denials, the contradictions. The pause doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Yesterday was about how we got here, folks. Today is about what happens when a crisis stops being containable. Now, before I get into the latest of all things Iran, if you're a truth seeker, please click the subscribe button, comment, like, share with your friends, and click the notification bell. It'll give you all latest episodes of the Joe Rossano Show. So let's talk about Iran's internal collapse, okay? Iran is facing large internal uprising, more than anything anybody has seen in decades. I mean, we're talking protests, folks, in 300-plus cities. Reports of thousands killed. Security forces in Iran, they are now shoot to kill. They're using live ammunition against their own citizens. There's a surprise. Signs of fractures inside the regime's own ranks. This isn't just unrest. It's a government fighting a war abroad while losing control at home. Wow. And I got to say, wow. So the war expands, okay, while Iran burns on the inside, the external war, it's intensifying. U.S. and Israeli strikes hit 20-plus Iranian cities. Explosions heard everywhere. Iran retaliates with missiles and drones. Civilian casualties, they're rising on both sides. It's no longer a border conflict. It's a regional confrontation with global consequences. Iran is firing missiles and drones all over the place, everywhere, firing at anything it can fire at. And it's worrisome. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, okay, 20% of the world's oil moves through that strait. That's the world's oil choke point. Now that's the center of the standoff. Trump extends a deadline for Iran to reopen the strait, claims productive conversations. Iran denies any such talks. Now, what happens when this happens? Oil markets swing violently. This is a moment where diplomacy, economics, and military pressure, they're colliding. So we just got to hope for the best here. We really do, because it's getting bad. It really is. Now, pause, folks, pause. Now we have a 5-day pause, and that doesn't add up. And that's just like really strange. After days of threats and days of ultimatums, okay, President Trump announces a 5-day pause on planned strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. And he said he was holding off because of very good, very productive, as he says, conversations with Iran. Iran says those conversations never happened. What's going on? Either Either talks are happening and Iran is denying it, talks aren't happening, and the U.S. is trying to buy some time, or both sides are bluffing in a very dangerous game. This isn't de escalation, it's delay, a countdown, while both sides reposition, a 5-day window where anything can happen now. Now, Lebanon becomes the second front in this war. As the pause unfolds, the conflict widens. Israel strikes Hezbollah positions in Beirut. Israel claims the capture of Hezbollah fighters. Regional spillover becomes unavoidable. The war is no longer bilateral. It's becoming a multi-front conflict. And here are the global stakes. The world is now fully invested in what happens next. Oil prices, there's volatility everywhere. You never know if your gas is going to be $2.50 or $5.50. It's diplomatic chaos, and there's no off-ramp. A crisis that could reshape global power dynamics. This part of the story is where consequences, they go worldwide, folks. Worldwide. In this escalation, the moment where the story stops, it stops being linear and starts branching in every direction. Inside Iran, the regime is cracking. Outside Iran, the war is widening. And between the U.S. and Iran, we have a 5-day pause that raises more questions than it does answers. We'll see tomorrow where we're going to dive deeper into these contradictions, the intelligence leaks, and the moves happening behind the scenes, the ones that will determine whether the crisis cools down or it ignites into something bigger. Because at the end of the day, folks, this is not good. And I mean, that's the thing about President Trump, okay? He talks about this 5-day pause because of productive talks. Honestly, I don't know what to believe. If this was Ronald Reagan, that would be one thing, okay? I mean, I'd believe him, okay? If this was George H.W. Bush. Donald Trump is a wild card, folks. You just never know. You never know. I mean, Iran has denied any conversations, so it's got to be one or the other, okay? Either Iran wants to save face and says, hey, we're not talking to the Americans. Tell them to keep bringing it. We'll fight them. Or Donald Trump is trying to reposition the United States to continue the attacks. Either way, it's not a scenario that anyone, at least in America, is happy with. The war seems to be unpopular, but you got to ask yourself the question, was Iran enriching uranium to make nuclear weapons? Were they? Put it in the comments. Let me know. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to adopt a pet. God bless you. See you next time.